Do you wish that you could extract large amounts of data from multiple different data sets all at the same time and then consolidate it into one massive list that you can easily look through everything that you need all at once? Well, thanks to no-code software like Make.com, formerly Integromat, this is something that is not only very possible, but very quick to get set up, and so that you can be extracting data in seconds. So if you want to either learn more about Make.com and some of the advanced features inside of this no-code service, learning how to iterate and consolidate all of your information into one spot, then you've come to the right place. Let's see what we can do to get this set up. Hey, how's it going? This is Eric Harkness over at Solve Cycle Solutions. We're a no-code and automation agency that is dedicated to helping you reduce the amount of work and energy you have to put into things that you hate so that you can focus on doing the work that you love. In this video, I'm continuing where I left off in a previous video showcasing how to use mail hooks to send information from SmartSuite into Make. And in this particular video, I'm going to showcase their iterator and aggregator functions, which are perfect for helping you consolidate large amounts of data into one list. But before we dive in, I want to invite you to some free consultations. That's right, I'm offering free 30-minute consultations where we can try and get as much as we can done in those 30 minutes, whether it be you want to implement the solution I've built in a video, have some questions just about how no-code can streamline work processes in your business, or you're inspired by something you've seen and are having trouble implementing that properly in your system. So if that's of interest, head to the link in the description of this video where you can book that call as early as next day. Make has some really great built-in tools that help you to map and list certain pieces of data, as well as to, like I've been saying a lot in this video, consolidate and extrapolate information. So at the bottom of the screen here, there is this button called Tools. If you click this, there's lots of different options for, we have a basic trigger, we have a increment function, variables, aggregators. What we're going to select here is set variable. This set variable works as a bucket that we are then going to take all of the pieces of information that we are specifically looking for and map a specific name to that piece of information so that we can quickly and easily access this information in future steps of this automation that won't necessarily be as easily accessible, or there's more chance of that information getting distorted or confused and not properly showing up at the end of the automation. So what we're going to do is we're going to select a specific name that we're going to call this variable. And in this case, I'm just putting it as grocery item. We're going to leave the variable lifetime as 1 cycle. The next step we need to figure out is adding the variable value. So this is going to be the data that is going to be extracted, set in this bucket variable, and then be able to be applied later on. So when you click into this, again, the large option of all the SmartSuite find record information is going to be here. Now, what we're looking for is called ingredients. So what may be easier for me to do is, instead of filtering through all of these items here, I can just type in ingredients, and you'll see this pulls up here as a couple of different things. It shows ingredients, but then it also shows a second ingredients down below. Now, in testing this, I actually made a mistake before recording this video, where you can see that this just says ingredients and it looks like it's an array. And this is a little bit of a weird occurrence, but if I click down, no information is pulling up. But if I click on ingredients here, you can see the item description, and you can see that it's referencing one of the recipes that I'm working with, and it says olive oil. So you want to make sure that if you're building something and is trying to extract values from an array like this, you want to make sure that you can see the actual information underneath the array. So in this case, we're going to click the second ingredients here. We're not going to click item descriptions. We're actually just going to click ingredients. And so again, this is going to filter out all this information and only pull in the ingredients that we're looking for tied to these records. We're going to click on this, basically looks like an Excel grid sheet, because this is for functions working with arrays, which we've established this ingredients list is. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to select the map button. And you can see here, it gives a little bit of an explanation that we're basically trying to map this information specifically and label it further so that, again, it is easier for this information to be extracted from the array to be repeated over and over again, because we're going to have to extract, in this case, the ingredients from 5 different records. So I'm going to click the map, and then what I can do is I can click and drag the ingredient into this parentheses here. And you want to do that before the bracket. And then what I've done is I just put item description, because that's more, this is just a smaller detail. It's just easier for me to process the information. Once you hit OK, we're going to then move over to this other tools option that says flow control. And what we're going to do here is select iterators. And we're going to link that, and you see that that's connecting. The function of this tool is to break apart these massive groups of data into individual little pieces of data that can kind of be used separately. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put the grocery item. So now that we've set up the iterator to extract these individual ingredient items, we need to repackage them all into one large list. And to do that, we're going to go back into the flow control tools. We're going to select array aggregator. This basically does the opposite of our iterator and will be used to compile information. Now, there are some back and forth tedious steps that we do need to get set up here. So if I open the array aggregator, you'll see that there's a lot of information here. You can see source module, you can see target structure type, and there's nothing that we can do here right now. What we actually want to do before we start getting into the array aggregator, what I find is easiest is to open up the next step that we're trying to get done. In this case, we're going to open the SmartSuite section and hit update record. So I'm going to click this and connect the two. And then the SmartSuite record is going to ask for specific information here. So again, we're trying to pull up a specific solution. I'm using the test zone. We're going to pull up the weekly grocery plan here. And then what you'll see is when we hit this record, we need to search for a record ID or title to identify the specific item that we're trying to update. So what I can do is if I click map, because what we're wanting to do is take that subject headline from the very beginning and put it back in this list. But if I click map, you'll see that I only have the option to do the flow control aggregator, but that's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to toggle off the map function, and just temporarily, because it is required for this particular action inside of make, we're going to just select a weekly grocery list. I'll click on the one that we're working on right now. And then an additional step that I want to take right now before I forget is I want to mark that the status is updated for the grocery list. And the reason I'm doing this, and I'm going to change it so that when this automation is complete, it will go from gathering ingredients to ready to place order. The reason that I'm doing this specifically is so that I know when I look back inside of my SmartSuite table that if it says ready to place order, that means the automation went through and worked properly. And that means that I do have the most recent up-to-date grocery list that I'm looking for. And if I don't, I go back and check and it still says gather ingredients, I know that something's broken and I can go back into make and see what's going on. Now, the last thing that we want to do, because the whole reason that we need to get things set up inside of the SmartSuite record before going back into the aggregator is we need to update the weekly grocery shopping list. This is the checklist that will be coming in that we're going to put all of these ingredients into. Now, something else just to be aware of, because there can be a lot of trial and error troubleshooting that you have to do. I'm trying to show this just because this was a headache initially figuring it out as well. There are two ways you can present this information. You can select add item and hit, with the item description, you can hit array. If you do this, this is actually going to put inside of SmartSuite just a long list of parenthesis brackets that say collection, 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 collection. And that's not actually the information we're looking for. So that's not going to work. Instead, what we need to do is turn on the map button. And what we can do is then click array. And then we're going to hit OK here. And the reason that we want to map this information is that when I go back into the array aggregator, if I click the drop-down button for target structure type, now the weekly grocery shopping list pulls up. When I click this, it's going to pull up that same section that we were just looking at. And all we have to do is then just put the value that the iterator is producing. And so that will help us insert all the information in one go instead of having it trying to be listed as one giant jumble of words. Now, the last thing that we need to do here inside of the array aggregator is set the source module. So in this case, we are looking for the very first point that we are collecting multiple bundles of data that we need to process through repeatedly. And what I mean by repeatedly is that we are going through each bundle to extract all the information. If we just set this up to do one iteration like this, it would take the first recipe that we have and then run through that, and that would be it. Setting the array aggregator helps us run through all the bundles to collect all the information we need. So in this case, we are just going to set the source module to SmartSuite find records. And then we can close out of that, and you now see that there's like a little gray bar that goes between this, showing that there is this loop going through, or this closed system. Now, once this is set up, you can see our process is pretty much complete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save again. And then the last thing that we need to do is, well, I guess there's two ways that we can go about this. If you want to test this once, you can click run once and it will try and go through the entire automation, or you can also turn this automation on to actually do a live test. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and turn the system on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop back into the grocery list view. And you can see that we have about 6 recipes that we're going to be gathering ingredients from. I believe there is an average of about 4 to 5 per recipe in this. So it should be somewhere between 24 and 30 ingredients, more or less. But what we're going to do is we're just going to change the status from meal plan to gathering ingredients. And then what I can do is if I back out, this will take me to the main overview, and you'll see that this is running. And look at that. We have everything went through smoothly. So we can look at the end results here. If you click into this magnifying glass, you will see that under the grocery list, we have actually 36 different ingredients that were listed there. So I can now hop back into SmartSuite, and you'll see the status changed to ready to place order, which means that the automation was a success. But go into SmartSuite now, you will see I have this long list of ingredients that, yes, I may not be using all of them. Like I don't need to add salt to my grocery list, but I can say that's not needed. I don't need that. I have spices and I have rice, but I may need to get everything else on this list. So it is kind of just having to quickly comb through and look at the list, but you can see how powerful this function is inside of Make, being able to compile a large amount of information and just put it all into one list that is easily accessible. You could have this extract data from multiple different locations, and that really is kind of the beauty of using a system like Make. So I hope you got a ton of value out of this video, and you can see some of the potential of using a no-code solution like Make in either your personal life or your business. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you got a ton of value out of this. I know this probably went by really quickly, and there are lots of things that you can do to vary and modify this solution that I've built. But go ahead and try building this for yourself. And if you have any questions or if you get stuck, feel free to use that 30-minute free consultation with me, and we can get this set up for you, or something similar if you're trying to implement this in a different kind of solution. So that's all I've got to say on this topic for today. So take care, and I'll see you in the next video.